And good afternoon. We made it here to the weekend, just about. It's Jason Mann with Jim Check, Kelowna Now live on YouTube and XR news headlines as we cruise into the weekend.
This is our last news until after Christmas.
It would appear so, I guess. Yeah. Prime Minister Trudeau and the family are planning to head to Jamaica for a vacation following Christmas. Well, that's our top story.
There you go. He says he's leaving on December 26th, returning on January 4th. He's taking his children and his wife, even though they've announced their separation earlier this year. And he said he did check with the federal ethics commissioner in advance of this trip to make sure it follows guidelines and that the family will be paying for their own stay this time.
So I got to pay for it?
So the last few times he was confused. I don't know. Is that what that says? I'm not sure.
And just to double check, I don't know.
Anyway.
BC is seeing a doubling of the predicted number of strep infections amongst kids this year.
Yeah, health authorities in BC are warning the public about higher levels of strep bacterial infections among children. So there you go. BC Centre for Disease Control and BC Children's Hospital say there's been about 51 cases of group A streptococcal. There you go, strep throat. Streptococcal. This year is among children under 20. That's twice the number forecasted by health officials. There you go.
And Kelowna Now was live with Rochelle Stevenson from Thompson River University yesterday. We had a chat with her and learned a little bit more about the program that she is running right now, a survey study.
Yeah, she's doing a research study on sexual harassment for the Kamloops food and beverage industry. So the study is currently in stage 2, where they're collecting information from hospitality workers. So they're trying to get people to submit anonymous surveys right now.
It'll be interesting to see the outcome from all of that.
Yeah, you can go on Kelowna Now, find the story, and then there's a link there. You can click in it, and you can complete the survey if you so wish.
There you go. BCUC has denied that the pipeline project move ahead. This is one that Fortis was asking for, a sort of an extension here in the Okanogan as we outgrow our capacity by 2026.
I see, but I don't think they see. Right? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a $327 million pipeline expansion project in the Okanogan, been denied by the British Columbia Utilities Commission on Friday. They
said
no. They said no because perhaps you won't need gas in the future.
All of our sustainable goals are going to...
Yeah, so anyway. On Friday, they denied Fortis's application for the Okanogan capacity upgrade that would have included construction, installation, operation of around 30 kilometers of new natural gas pipeline. So we're going to reach out, and we're going to see if we can get somebody from BCUC and Fortis, and of course our official opposition, and from the NDP party to see why, if the population growth in British Columbia, especially interior, keeps going up, because that's what Fortis is saying, we're going to need this to meet the demand, and they're saying, no, you're not. So that doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Does it make sense to you?
Nope.
That makes sense to me.
What's the plan?
It's worthy of a question.
Mm-hmm. Bridge work is expected to cause some delays on Highway 1 through the shoe swap this weekend, it looks like. Actually, right through till...
Oh, yeah. No,
not starting this weekend. Sorry, I got ahead of myself.
Early January until March, they're working on that bridge there. So anyone who regularly travels through Salmon Arm would be aware of the upcoming construction project. Said the Salmon River Bridge in Salmon Arm will be closed for rehab work from early January till March 31st. And the work is to extend the life of that bridge. So.
And a U.S. family is searching in BC for a cat that jumped out of a car during a Florida to Alaska drive.
You know, there's a lot of people that make that drive, eh?
Yeah.
A lot of Americans that have to actually go through
Canada,
BC mostly, to get from the United States to
the United States.
Alaska.
Yeah.
Alaska's a beautiful place.
And there's...
Next time you're there, just ask somebody.
Have you ever been hyderized? Have you ever stopped in just north of Stewart there?
Yeah. No.
They have their own special hot alcohol that you are dared to imbibe.
They were traveling from Alaska to Florida, and that's a jaunt. They went from one corner of...
the continent, basically.
Yeah. And it's a very important family member. Molly, a 5-year gray tab. He jumped out of their vehicle when the family stopped at a gas station at Charlie Lake. That's just northwest of Fort St. John on December 15th.
Oh, man.
So they stuck around for a few hours, 7 hours actually, and they couldn't find Molly even after checking out the local SPCA. So they're hoping somebody finds Molly. They got a $200 reward out there, US too. So that's about $200 US is about like $8,000 Canadian, no?
Yeah, something like that. So call all your friends in Charlie Lake.
Sometimes. It feels like that sometimes. But anyway, it's more like, I think it'd be like 260 or 270. Anyway.
260 reasons to call your friends in Charlie Lake. There.
If anybody's found Molly, go on clonanow.com. You can read the story in full. You can find a picture of Molly there. And then there's a Facebook Messenger thing, or you can text the number and return Molly and get some cash.
A vehicle stop near Karamias led to the arrest of 2 Okanogan residents wanted on a warrant and the seizure of weapons, drugs, and a 3D printed gun.
So that's the thing about those 3D printers that everybody loves. They can actually print things that maybe you shouldn't be able to print, but they do that. On Wednesday, around 1:30 a.m., officers from Penticton and Karamias stopped a suspicious vehicle traveling at a high rate of speed along Highway 3A near the Karamias Bypass Road. Mounties said the passenger was recognized as a 35-year-old Penticton resident who had outstanding warrants. And a 33-year-old driver also had warrants out in Kelowna. Both men were arrested, and during the initial investigation, the responding officers found the driver displaying signs of impairment by drugs. Search of the vehicle uncovered illegal drugs, a 3D printed .22 caliber firearm, break-in tools, and other weapons. In addition to the warrants, both men are now facing additional charges, including possessing break-and-enter instruments, possession of controlled substances, and possession of a prohibited or restricted weapon. The 35-year-old man is held in custody pending a bail hearing, and a 33-year-old driver was released with a court date.
And the pool at Parkinson Recreation Center is going to be opening ahead of schedule after the building's boilers failed in October.
So they'll be fully operation by Wednesday, December 27th, which is weeks earlier than anticipated. When the boilers failed, the city and the pool would not open until didn't think they'd open until January, as repairs were expected to take 8 to 12 weeks. So they're pretty happy that they got it done quickly, and that's going to make everybody happy that they get in the water. Getting in the water is great. Residents are reminded that Parkinson Rec Center is now open from 8 until noon on December 24th, closed on Christmas Day, open from 6 a.m. to 5 p.m. on December 27th, 28, and 29.
All those dates and times available at clonanow.com.
Look at that. It's almost like good reasons to go to Clonanow.
It's almost like there's good reasons. A Kelowna developer wants to build a 230-unit rental building in Glenmore.
The rental plans for a rental-only building in Glenmore have been submitted to City Hall. They're asking to rezone 435 Sutton Crescent from MF2 to Townhouse Zone to VC1R. There you go. So this one would be 81 bachelor units, 97 one-bedrooms, and 52 two-bedrooms. And then with 234 parking stalls and 170 long-term biking stalls. I think somebody wrote that wrong. And 12 short-term spots. Or is that for dogs? Barking spots.
Barking spots? Canadian veterans, their families, to get free access to all Parks Canada sites. This is a new initiative of the Government of Canada.
Sadly, we did that story yesterday where we talked about veterans visiting food banks, and instead of more help, you get a free pass to a Canadian park. Better nothing, I guess.
I can't help it. I'm sorry. I'm serious. This is it's just almost too hard to believe, but yeah. Nearly 6 hours. I just can't help it. Sorry. Multiple search warrants were executed in the eastern part of the province earlier this week, including one that led to a lengthy standoff with a peaceful end. This is a nearly 6-hour standoff in eastern BC there.
Creston RCMP say officers in Southeast District containment unit were called to a location off near Highway 3 and Highway 3A junction on Wednesday morning. Mounties say a 50-year-old Crescent man was subject to a warrant related to alleged possession of drugs and trafficking of drugs. The suspect, who had a history of violence and weapons offenses, allegedly barricaded himself inside a house and refused to exit or surrender, say the RCMP. Finally, after nearly 6 hours, the man surrendered and was arrested. So those kind of situations can get pretty scary for a while. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the cops did say that they found varying illicit drugs, including opioids, as well as weapons.
I still can't get over this.
Handful of Okanogan athletes to represent Canada at Youth Olympics.
We're just going to keep
just
going.
helping you. 4 Okanogan hockey players will soon get a chance to represent Canada at the international stage at the 2024 Winter Youth Olympic Games. So that's Matthias Preston, Frada Penticton, Liam Ruck, and Marcus Ruck. I imagine those are brothers out of Osoyoos, and Keaton Verhoof, Fort Saskatchewan, Alberta, are slated to make their way to Gangwon, South Korea to compete. Congrats. And
those sports stories always have the toughest names.
There you go.
Dan Albus has written another letter and submitted it to us. We've published it. It's all about Trudeau's electric car plans, diverting dollars from defense and health and the problem with that.
Yeah. And Dan saying it's the end of the road is coming for gas-powered vehicles in Canada. And this week's question is the question he has for you. He's asking for your response. So you can go on kelownanow.com again, and you can share your thoughts. Or you can, Marcy might put this on TikTok. Who knows? You can share your thoughts. Do you support the Prime Minister's unilateral approach to require 100% of vehicles sold by 2035 to be electric or an electric hybrid? Why or why not? Jason and I are very much proponents of EVs, but we also believe people should have a choice. And I think EVs they don't need to be a political flag for either side. And it shouldn't be shoved down anybody's throat. It should be shown to be better or not.
I'd agree with that. And Tracy Gray also made a contribution, 2023 in review, wildfires, cost of living crisis, and protecting our lakes, all among her thoughts.
Yeah, you can go to Kelowna Now and read those thoughts. Tracy Gray is a long-standing citizen of Kelowna and knows the area very well. And she speaks very well for our area. So go ahead and have a read.
I just want to make it clear, I'm not laughing at veterans.
No, I get it.
Yeah,
I know why you're
okay,
laughing. You're laughing at the lunacy of
yes,
the whole
yes,
thing.
yes.
Okay,
all right. As long as we get that.
That was pretty obvious. You're laughing at how like
all right, I just want to make it clear.
Ridiculous it is, right?
Because
like food, no. Like a free park pass.
Yeah. It's just amazing. Okay, so X-Files. This is SpaceX announcing that there are now over 2.3 million active Starlink customers.
This is what I wanted to show you what an adoption curve looks like, right? Because you can see Starlink, which I run at home. I run Starlink at home. You can replay it. So lots of times in this, we can do this for tons of technologies and stuff like that. And you would say the same thing for an EV uptick, but that should take care of itself. Nobody's shoving Starlink down anybody's throats, right? Like Starlink is either going to get an uptick or not. My biggest point on Starlink is this. I have Starlink on my house for now probably a year and a bit.
What do you pay per month? Don't mind me asking. It's like 200?
Of course I mind. I think it's like 140 or 100, something like that, which is very similar to what I was paying for cable.
Yeah.
With I don't know if it was Shaw or TELUS, but that's typically what a cable bill is, right? I get a few other things with Starlink that you don't typically get. I could take it wherever I want. Do you know what I mean? I have some mobility if I wanted. I own the system. It's been like we've had issues at our house because we've had Shaw and we've had TELUS. We've had issues at our house and they've come out all the time. I don't know what. Like I think with Shaw we had like neighborhood kind of problems, where
crossing signals.
Well, I don't know, like if it was like more neighbors are downloading movies when it was first coming out, and you'd get speed lags, and you'd be watching a movie, and all of a sudden like the spinning wheel of like frustration would show up on the screen, right? And then we switched to fiber with TELUS, That seemed to work really well for a while, and all of a sudden it started doing. And we've had the technicians out many times, and then of course they're just like, "Oh, you got to buy the next tier,
boosters.
You got to buy the next tier, and you keep buying the next tier, and you keep paying more and more and more,
right?
And you still get that spinning wheel, and then so finally, I gave Starlink a whirl, and no spinning wheel yet, a year and a bit. So,
do you find you use it portably much at all?
I used it in Alberta once.
Yeah. Okay.
But
if you went camping or things like that, could you use it?
I haven't done it, but I think you can. People are buying for RVs.
Yeah.
Here's the biggest thing that I would say about Starlink. Like when you hear these announcements from the Canadian government, they say like, we're going to go to these remote communities, and we're going to give them internet. And it's, like $1 billion that we're going to give to one of the big telecom companies in Canada. I'm just like, isn't it like $150 for Starlink? Couldn't we just give them that? Because I was also working at a remote.
And it's 5G too, isn't it? Or
yeah, I worked at a remote mine site, and we were using ExploreNet, and that was so bad. Like if it was cloudy, you wouldn't get anything, and we had 150 guys on site, so you couldn't get. So finally, Manitoba Telecom put in a point of sight thing with their cell towers, and that worked better. But if Starlink was available back then, we just would have went to Starlink, right? Because you can also put multiple Starlinks up, you know what I mean? And you can use it in the Antarctica, or, you know what I mean? Because the satellites fly at a low altitude, and there's this net of them. And just think, once he had cell phones into it, how when you drive right now, when you drive from Calgary or Kelowna to Calgary, you get about an hour, right? Because between, I think, Revelstoke and Golden, you get some connectivity. Same thing going to Vancouver, right? Like you drop in and out all the time. As soon as Starlink is available, you'll have 100% connection all the time. There you go. There's my pitch. Starlink is part of SpaceX.
Right, and I would imagine that's what's going to drive the autonomous Teslas as well.
They have connectivity already. I don't know. Maybe they're using it. I'm not sure. But.
All right, and we have another.
Doug Ford's trouble again. For making a gingerbread house in the midst of
oh, geez.
I thought this one was funny because it was during the COVID crisis where Doug Ford was making cheesecake that he got in trouble as well. So Doug Ford tends to get in trouble in the kitchen. That's my point. Maybe Doug should stay out of the kitchen.
Oh, man. You can't
just saying.
Stand the heat, stay out of the kitchen.
Oh, and then there was a piece on CBC this morning where the host did say that when Israel started the war, and then, of course, there's been a lot of backlash, and now CBC says, according to the National Post, CBC is saying it was an error in the teleprompter. And this one's, nope. There we go. The sign of the times.
Oh, no.
The sign of the times.
No.
You can now make payments on your Walmart purchases. Okay, you can do that on Lululemon though too, right? When you go online and you go to buy, like, say if you want to buy a puffy jacket, just like, how would you like to make like 6 payments?
Yeah, same for Aritzia.
Same with Aritzia?
Wow.
There you go. Now here, if you were just buying a loaf of bread and just like, well, if you haven't got all the funds right now to buy that bread, we're willing to offer you a pay later plan.
Yeah.
And then, you know what? For a lousy
automatically
for a lousy 28.8% interest, you can have that bread right now.
Oh.
That is bad. I'm not saying it's bad to offer it, but it's bad that we're at a point where people are going to finance.
Of course they are.
What's this saying? Credit cards are maxed out. So the next thing we can do is we can start lending you money at the till for groceries.
Yeah.
Come on.
And it's like approved on the spot kind of a deal?
The winds of change are blowing. It's not even like a small wind of change that's blowing right now. It should be hurricane, gale force winds of blowing. Because this it's
almost like they knew it was coming.
This is almost ridiculous. Anyway,
all right.
Sad state. A country as rich as Canada.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's a familiar refrain.
So, to a more positive message, though. It's almost Christmas.
You have a couple extra days to get your name entered to win a couple of the prizes with the 13 Days of Christmas at KelownaNow.com as well. Still up for grabs, our big white grand prize package worth $2,200. So, your free time tomorrow.
Spend some time with loved ones. spend less time drinking if you're going to drive, or just in general. Spend more time planning how you're going to be a better you for your family and your friends and your loved ones for the following year. Set some goals. Be in the moment. I think that's the biggest one. Be in the moment. Like if you're going to be with your family, maybe put the phone down.
Yeah, that's a good.
Maybe
that's a really good one.
Yeah, just be in the moment. Like if you're at work, be here and work. If you're at home, be home and be with who's you're with, right? Marcia's going to be with her mom, so be with your mom. I think your mom don't like it if you're on the phone all the time, right?
We have matching Christmas pajamas and slippers.
Wow. Amazing. So do whatever you need to do to get that family connection, because I think if the closer we can feel to each other, the more that we're going to be able to do for people out there, right? And keep in mind that every person that you come in contact with is part of your story. And you don't want them to write a bad verse or chapter, do you? Or even a paragraph. Just be nice.
Those are good thoughts.
Just be nice. That's my Christmas present.
All right.
Just be nice.
I feel calm and zen now suddenly.
There you go. Merry Christmas. We're wishing you the best, and we will see you on Boxing Day. Jason will probably be calling in, showing us what it looks like to be living the high life, literally up there high. I mean, high up in the mountaintops.
Yeah.
Up on the ski hill with his 3 children and enjoying champagne powder.
Gotta love it.
Champagne powder. Like, we're so lucky to have Big White in our backyard.
Huge. Huge.
You know, like Big White is a world-class resort, and we have it in our backyard.
People travel thousands of miles to be there.
Many.
Yeah,
people
many
people travel.
Pretty incredible.
Yeah, I mean, we also have Silver Star, Apex, and Sun Peaks.
And
not to forget Mount
Whitewater and
Mount Baldy, the little hill
Red.
there, and Phoenix Mountain and Red, and like all those ski hills are just a hop, skip, and a jump. And then
Big White is still my favorite though. It's the crown jewel.
Marcy's giving us the eye, telling us to wrap it up. That's our Christmas wrap. So we'll wrap it up. And again, Merry Christmas from all of us here at Kelowna Now.